Hello, good afternoon, morning, evening, whatever time it is around the world. Amber Army YouTube viewers, we are here. It is the eve of the new season. Well, that's while we're recording this, at least anyway. It's the eve of the new season. You may be watching it, well, the day after or whenever. So it's not been a particularly long summer, to be honest with you, to be fair, because the season comes a little bit quicker than it usually would because of the upcoming World Cup. So not a particularly long pre-season, but Ollie, thanks for joining me. It's just me and Ollie today, unfortunately. Just the two of us could make it for this.
Yeah.
Ollie?
Always great to be on, always great to see your face whenever I get the chance.
Aha, good man, good man. So we're here now, eve of the new season. So we're pretty much what we're going to go through is the pre-season and how that's gone, or how we think it's gone. The kits, I can see Ollie is sporting the away one. I'll be wearing mine tomorrow.
Away one.
Yeah, happy with that. And we'll go through a brief chat on the game tomorrow, and obviously the injury to James Clark as well. So Ollie, do you want to make a start and just sort of go through what games of the pre-season you managed to catch?
So unfortunately, I didn't manage to catch any of the pre-season games live, but the highlights that have come out from either the club or other clubs I have watched. Pre-season then started on the 1st of July. We made our annual trip down to Undy, winning 7-0. I don't really think that's ever a competitive match. You never expect it to be a competitive match. It's more a chance to see the players and see how we gel. Goal scorers were Will Evans, Aaron Wildig, Sam Bowen, James Waite, Tom Stokes, who is in the academy, and Afrande Zanzala. Pretty positive way to start off the pre-season, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice money spinner for a local club to us. It's a warm-up game, effectively, or a training match, the way that we'll see it for our players. So it was good to start lightly like that, without big and competitive to start with. I know usually that fixture is reserved for watching a few youth players, a couple of fringe first teamers maybe, and trialists. But that's the one thing that we've had none of for this pre-season is trialists. Obviously, some of the youth that may push for first team spots have been involved. So it's really pleasing to see that, personally. And obviously, as you said, Stokes being one of the ones who scored one of the goals at Dundee, he's featured a couple of times. So, to be fair, mate, I think, as you said, it was a good way to kick the pre-season off, I think.
Yeah, I think the lack of trialists as well goes to show the way James Rowbury wants to run the club and how he wants to manage it. He doesn't want to have to choose his first lineup on the day. He wants all the players in early doors. He wants to know what he's got, what he needs, ready to go into the season. And I think it's helped us massively because we're now going into this second game tomorrow, knowing exactly the team we're playing, where our strengths are, where the weaknesses are, and we've still got a month of transfer window to fix all those problems. So the way he's attacked pre-season is quite refreshing and quite positive in organisational sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're in the usual drivel now, aren't you, as well? Like, where are the goals coming from to start with? Even though one of the players that we got is a former front runner of the scoring charts in League Two, which is something we've never had before. Obviously, we had Dom Telford get to the top, but no one expected that to happen at all.
No.
Apparently we've got no midfield and we're too weak in defence, and everybody hates Joe Day. So basically, our own fans seem to think we're going to have a shit season without saying we're going to have a shit season. It gets the nerves a bit. I mean, there's negativity before we even kick the competitive ball. As you said, the indie game. I know we're going to go through the pre-season, but you made the point of getting our business done early, which is obviously a good thing. Business done early, no trialists. That only youth players are going to figure or have a chance of pushing for a first team spot are going to be were included in the pre-season. And I personally, I think it was an effective pre-season. They had a training camp in Cheshire, and and I think the games that we played were about right. They built up. They got the opposition got stronger and stronger as it went along, and obviously we finished things off drawing 1-1 away to Forest Green. So obviously we're going to go through some of the other games, but if you want to pick up from the Hungerford 2 60-minute games, next one.
Yeah, the Hungerford 6-0 120-minute match split into 2 60-minute halves. Again, another good game. A team that's a lot lower, a lot weaker, more of a confidence game than anything, and it clearly worked. Goal scorers then James Clark, Will Evans again, Tank Kazimba, Jack Corrigan, James Waite and Omar Bogle. I think the one thing to talk about, the one point I want to talk about here is Jack Corrigan. Looks like he's got a real good future at the club. He featured a little bit last season in the Keeper Trophy or whatever it's called these days, but he looks very positive, and especially in a Newport County side where the defence is never really stacked full of options, and with a manager who's a bit more on the side of offering youth players chances, I think we could see him break through in the second half of the season, maybe early next season. But no, another positive game.
Yeah, I was basically, I'm not going to say I was at the Hungerford game because it was behind closed doors, but because Draken Park is just a short walk over that way, I decided to go and find myself a nice rip in the tarpaulin to watch through, which was just behind James Rowbury, as it goes. I managed to see a side of Rowbury which I further admire. So he's very complimentary to players when they do things well. He comes down on them like a ton of bricks when they do something wrong, especially when he knows they're capable of doing better.
Yeah.
And it seems as though if they don't listen to him, he gets his hair off. Well, what hair he has got.
Black hair off.
No, I mean, it was good to see that side of him because he was managing them individually, obviously as a team, because he obviously in between the games and at the end of each of the games, because they had their, after 30 minutes, they had their drinks break and all that. So we gathered them round for them as well. He laid into them and laid home truths onto them. And he wasn't afraid to say what he felt, which is, for me, when you want a leader, that's the kind of leader you want, is someone who's not afraid to tell you you're going wrong, not afraid of upsetting you. Because at the end of the day, if in football, you don't go into football, you don't work all your life to be good at football, to go into it and be afraid of having your feelings hurt by your manager. If your manager's telling you you're not good enough at doing this, you need to get better. For me, that's guidance. That's guiding me with the right constructive criticism to improve as a football player. So it seems as though we've got a squad full of lads who take that on board because they all speak so highly of James, to be fair. So I get this yawning problem all the time. Guys, it's all good. Yeah, the thing is, if I'm yawning, I must be boring myself, let alone you. Yeah, so that Hungerford game, it was quite an eye-opener for me, but it was all positive. Like I said, the guys played well. Lewis Collins and Chanka Zimba linked up well, but that was after Rowbury shouted at them for not linking up. He's like, well, you guys actually going to get on the ball up top at some point. He actually shouted at them something along those lines. And before you knew it, then they started linking up. And then Lewis Collins got the ball, dribbled past two players, sent the ball out wide, and Chanka Zimba popped it in the goal.
Yeah.
It was a great move, and the two of them linked really well, although I don't think they'll be the one starting tomorrow. I've got a feeling there'll be Bogle and Zanzara, who were also good, but, in that game. But, yeah, I got to be fair, I was happy what I saw at the Hungerford game, and even though I burned my legs and my back of my neck because of the sunshine on the day, it was worth it.
Yeah, just one thing on the strike partnership. I feel like it's going to be very similar to what we had last season, where there was a bit of chopping and changing for the first few weeks, trying to find out what strikers work well with each other. We have got 4 at the moment. We've got Zanzala, Zimba, Lewis Collins, and Omar Bogle. I couldn't tell you which two I'd pick. I'd probably go along the lines of Zanzala and Bogle, but who knows? Maybe Zanzala plays 45 and then Lewis Collins comes on, and Zimba plays 45 and someone else comes on. I think it's just going to take a little bit of tweaking and finding out who works.
Well, in that game, Will Evans played a little bit of time up front.
Yeah.
So I got a feeling he may be utilised as a forward. But in the second Hungerford game, or the second 60 minutes, Bogle went off and Kiban Ray, if that's how you say it, he came on and looked promising. So I don't know if this is his squad and the youngsters are going to be a part of it, or whether he's testing the water to see where he really needs to add, if he's going to put more lungs in. But no, to be honest with you, I was happy with what I saw from pretty much all the players in those games, albeit much lower down opposition, but still a competitive game. That the thing is, when you play someone lower down, it's more than just a friendly to them. You know, they feel like they got something to prove. You know, he's in a higher league than them. So, you know, you tend to find that they play with a bit more intensity, which we'll come to when we talk about the Torquay game, of course.
The next game we played then, speaking of lower down opposition, was Cardiff City. 2-0 loss to them. There was a lot of negativity around it. Lots of people saying we're rubbish and we're going to get relegated. We held off a championship level Cardiff for 77 minutes without them scoring. I think for what we did and the fight we put up in that first half, the intensity and the kind of flow of the match, we did incredibly well to hold them off for 77 minutes. And if that was another League Two side, we win that game 1 or 2-0. So the negativity around it was a bit baffling.
I didn't see the Cardiff game. That was one of 2 that I missed. And from people who I know who either went or bought it on the TV, I mean, I didn't go, I didn't buy it on the TV because I had stuff going on that night, and which I couldn't get out of. So I had to look for the Twitter updates. But the one thing is that apparently we had a lot of chances in the first half, and with a better team. Then Cardiff obviously changed things. I don't think it was an entire first team selection. I think it was a pick of some of their first team players, some of the younger first team players, like Caldwell, Harris. I know whether they factored in. I think Perry NG was part of that as well. But then there was a lot of it was development squad as well. So that's why I said that the quality of opposition increased as we went along. So except maybe you could say Western, but you know, it was a nice kind of pattern. You know, we made it that bit harder every time. But I think it's when they brought some of their more experienced players on, that was when they turned the screw and managed to get their 2 goals.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to dwell too much on that. You know, I mean, whether it be in a friendly or in a competitive cup fixture, you lose away 2-0 away to a team 2 divisions above you. There's no shame in that. So people get their arse in their hands about that. It's just a little bit sad, personally. I think people need to get a fucking grip.
The next game then was that 4-0 win away at Western. Lewis Collins, Tanker Zimba, Harrison Bright and Matthew Dolan scoring the 4 goals. As we've constantly mentioned, the quality of the opposition stepping up and up and up. But I feel like as the opposition got more difficult, we played a lot more better, and we was playing, you know, on all cylinders for this Western game. It was great. We was passing. There was moments where you could see the team's not fully gelled, but you expect that. That's what pre-season's for. And I think, you know, they come away 4-0. Some of the individual performances were brilliant, but as a team, we played excellent.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And the thing is, the 11 that we used, I wouldn't even call them our first choice 11. They were probably our second choice 11.
Yeah.
Or probably, I think who played at Torquay the day after would have been likely to be the team that starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like I say, with Zimber and Collins playing up front together, that's why it would make me believe that Bogle and Zanzala would be likely to be the ones to start tomorrow. Although with James Clark out, sorry guys, medication mum. So with James Clark out now, something tells me we're going to be having a back three with Dylan there. But we'll get on to that anyway. But at Western, we were on top of the game throughout. It probably should have been more than 4. Remembering Western had the strike partnership of Marlon Jackson and Ruben Reid. So that's an interesting one. I think it's one of those things where they got a recipe to do well next season if them two can score goals for them. But didn't have an awful lot to offer Western, but it was a good game. It was an enjoyable evening, and I'm glad I went. On to the day after, which was the Torquay game, the 0-0. And this is the one that drove up the biggest uproar from. It's difficult to call people fans when they just get online and start slagging their club off, slagging off their team. You get people saying we got no midfield. Well, that's completely incorrect. I think we got a very accomplished midfield. We've got players like Sam Bowen, Aaron Wildig, Scott Bennett, Robbie Wilmot, Will Evans, James Waite. We've got some pretty good players in that midfield. And for people to say we've got no midfield is just baffling, absolutely baffling. I mean, Aaron Wildig is going to provide that bit of experience, League Two experience in the centre of the park for us, that we were probably lacking last year. And then when we're looking for, we're not going to get another Finn Azaz, or we're not going to get anybody who's like him. We're not going to get another Ollie Cooper or anyone who's like him. But Sam Bowen offers us something, a bit of pedigree. And I believe Wildig and Bowen, that they showed that pedigree in that Torquay game. I think it was more the link-up play between the forwards and the fullbacks was lacking more than anything. But like I said, there was time to turn that stuff around. That game for me was a fitness builder more than a we have to win this game. And the fact that we didn't win this game didn't exactly disappoint me in any way. It was enjoyable to be a football match and away match as well. With a fair few county there, it just gave you a bit of a flavour of what tomorrow's going to be like. It was an insignificant draw in a friendly match, which for me was designed to gain the players a bit of fitness, and they certainly got that because it was Torquay made it very competitive.
Torquay are looking very strong for next season as well. I'd fancy them to be at the top of their table. The final game then was away to Forest Green Rovers, a 1-1 draw. It always seems like former county players score against us. The first goal coming from Jamil Matt, and then equalised out by Zanzala. It was a fairly strong Forest Green side, I thought, especially this was a week before the season started. I'm not sure if it was a strong Forest Green side or a poor Forest Green side, and I don't think they'll do well in the League One season. They've lost a lot of their key players, but it was still a good match for us, a good test against a team who is shaping up for League One. Again, a draw. There's no points in pre-season, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I'm happy an away draw at Forest Green. I'm happy enough for that. I mean, I remember when we played Forest Green away. Bloody hell, when was it? When Christian Doyle scored a goal against us. It was a few seasons ago. It was, and I'm trying to think now. I'm not sure if it was that season that turned out to be the Great Escape season. I might be completely wrong about that. So in the comments, please feel free to correct me if I am. But pre-season and the results for me have absolutely no meaning whatsoever on how the season's going to go. Because I mean, you take NFL for example. I know it's completely different games, but they're both sports, and they have a 4-game pre-season, where they just play against teams, other NFL teams in meaningless games, and I've known like teams like the New England Patriots, for example, when they've won a Super Bowl, had lost all 4 of their pre-season games,
Yeah.
but then they'd won the majority of their regular season games and qualified as one of the top seeds in their playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's why I know pre-season means nothing. Practice games mean nothing. Practice games are there for practice, training. That's all I see them as. So
Yeah.
Forest Green, I mean, you can take something from it, because if Forest Green wanted to play, then we've turned up and prevented them from beating us.
Yeah.
But like I say, it doesn't hold any real significance to me personally. Other people might take pre-season games as as an indicator of how we're going to do in the season. I mean, surely the one thing you are going to pick up if you're watching them closely enough is, the type of style of football that we're going to play. And for me, the type of football that we try playing is definitely going to be an attractive, tactically infused game of football that we're going to try and play this season. I think there's a little bit more physicality and an element of, what will be efficient in League Two thrown in what Robury would have played with us last year, which is why when we come to, well, you'll understand what I'm on about when we come to the season predictions.
Yeah.
But
season predictions.
So that's pretty much our pre-season then. I mean, so sorry, I know I'm taking a lot of the talking at the moment. Because I went to most of the games, I feel like I had an offer on it,
Yeah. Yeah. Pre-season predictions. I think this is probably the hardest League Two season we've seen in our 10-year stay in League Two. I've seen some predictions. I know Martin Phillips has us around 5th. No, I think he's got us at 3rd, and 442 Magazine has us at 5th. Ian Street from the 1912 Exiles, he's got us up in 3rd. And then there's a load of other people who've got us down 50th. I've seen one of those 20th. So it seems like no one can really predict League Two this season.
Well, I spoke to Luke Jones, who runs 100% Kent. I'm not sure if he was joking, but he said he reckons we're going to finish 19th and Robury will be sacked by October. I'd like to think he's trolling a little bit there, or just joking. Yeah. But then, when I tried inviting him onto this call, he said he couldn't. But then this is his prediction for the season. I'm like, oh, fuck it, mate. We should have had him on. We certainly would have had a chat. But no, I mean, what were we going to do? Should we do the kits before we do the prediction for the season?
Yeah. Let's go kits first. That's not as controversial, I don't think.
You go first, mate, because I have to get some words in.
Yeah. So the first kit that came out was the home kit. Quite frankly, it's a yellow top with black dots down the side of the body, I guess you could call it, for lack of a better word. Black sleeves, yellow chevrons. I think the only thing I do want to pick up on the home kit, I never really care about the designs and the patterns and whatnot. I'm always going to like the kit if you put a county badge on it. I don't think we have a distinctive amber colour. I feel like every season the amber of the kit changes. Sometimes it's more yellow, sometimes it's a dark orange. I don't feel like we have a consistent amber colour in the home kit.
Yeah, I mean, you've had different shadings because of the design. Where this is amber and black. There's no shadings. So yeah, it's a good point, mate. And I suppose that's a feature that I do like about the home kit. I'm a big fan of the home kit. Been a big fan of the last 4 home kits.
Yeah.
That I always felt that the kits we brought out were a little bit too bland. Until we brought out that Neil Hurd 3rd kit, where the fans voted for it between 3 designs. I thought it was about time we brought in something with a bit of style to it. Like, not that this is the catwalk or anything like that. It's the football, for fuck's sake. But you see a lot of these kits coming out, and you obviously notice from FIFA Ultimate Team that snazzier kits tend to get popular. Team, because you have kit cards for everybody. And even though I play in Newport's kits every season because it's Newport, you're thinking, yeah, you wouldn't mind having something that's going to maybe boost the profile of the club that little bit because people would be going after your kits.
Yeah. It's not just something that you play, and it's a point of marketing, and it's a point of it's something you can sell to bring money into the club. So if you've got a nice design or a creative design, people are going to flock to it and they're going to buy it up. Like last season, I think that's what we did incredibly well. I think the home kit was a bit meh. The away kit was beautiful, probably the best one we've had in a long time. And the fabled third kit, which you can't see anywhere except from Phil Harvey. He never takes it off. But yeah, I think the whole media stuff around that kind of boosted the profile of the club, and it just gives you a little bit of recognition that sometimes you might lack from a footballing side of things.
Yeah, because to be honest, Hummel have pretty much got it all right, haven't they, since they've started?
Yeah.
But although, if you remember, the first two kits that we released was, first of all, the first time with Hummel was the old away kit with the black X through it, the white one with the black X. Now, that got jumped all over. And then the third kit release, which was just a plain red one.
Yeah, the red with the grey chevrons down the side, wasn't it?
Yeah. And now I know that they were selling them plain for like half the price on their website.
Yeah.
But then throwing a county badge on it, you doubled the price of it.
Yeah.
And you thought, oh, God. And then the home kit came out, and then everyone was all over it. Everyone lapped that home kit up. It was beautiful. And since then, they've got it right. I think last year's home kit, you found it a bit meh.
Yeah.
I found it attractive. Obviously, the away kit was out of this world. The GLC kit would have been my favourite of them all if they were allowed to release it. And I didn't. The thing is, with me, I time it right to get the kits. And, I'd already bought all the home and away for me and the missus. Couldn't afford to order the third kit as well.
Yeah.
And they didn't release it. But then this season, the home kit came out, and I was a massive, massive fan of it. I just thought that blend, you saying about how you had the black spots down the side and all that, it blends through, so it's black to amber. It's like a blend with it, and it's really good, and it was really, really attractive. And then the away kit, you crack on, you put your thoughts on the away kit. Well, you're wearing it for, and that's always a good start.
Yeah. It's a lovely kit. I'm a massive fan of it. I'm a massive fan of this thing Hummel do, where they'll take a local kind of landmark and make it the centerpiece of the kit. Because, as you said, with the first kit we had, the red one, that was just a template that they already had. So to see them go in and making a bit of an effort with the design and making it personal to county, it just adds that extra touch. It's marketed as a grey kit, but in person I would argue it's a bit more on a purpley side. But it is a lovely colour. It's got the clock face of the new book clock. I think that's done by Mega now. Hotel Motors back on the front of the away kit as they were last season. All in all, it's a beautiful kit. I'm a massive, massive fan of it. I think we have excellent kits, both for this season and the whole time we've had Hummel. No complaints.
Yeah, Hummel have served us well, and obviously the club shop has been revolutionised. It looks absolutely stunning in there now. Only the other day, obviously, to get my kits. So I'm a big fan of the inclusion of Hummel, and like I said, they've nailed near enough every kit so far, haven't they?
Yeah, it's interesting to see how we go about this third kit. I know they've just done Wimbledon's third kit, and it's beautiful. If you want to go and have a look on Google, it's a red top with little green stripes down on it. It was a perfect Wales kit, to be honest with you. But I'm interested to see where they go with the third kit, and to see one, if it actually makes it onto the shelves, and two, if it's a bit better than the original kit.
Yeah, try not to rip off any other fashion designers with it this time.
Yeah.
Something a little bit more original, maybe.
Yeah.
But there we go. There's the kits wrapped up, and I suppose we've been going for nearly half hour. I know this doesn't need to be don't need to go for a full hour like we usually do. We'll just go with our predictions now. So you go first, mate. What do you think? So with your prediction feel free to add a little bit of substance in it, like, which players you think well, that kind of thing,
Yeah. In terms of a league position, the problem with county is we always finish on the extreme end of the scale. We're either in the playoffs or we're down in the bottom half of the table. We're never just around 8th or 9th. I would be happy with anything 12th and above. I think it's an incredibly competitive season. It's a season where lots of teams have recruited well. I think we've recruited just as well as some of the better teams, but you have to remember it's a small budget. It's a budget where you can't really attract some of the League One Championship players like a Walsall can, or like a Bradford or a Stockport can. But I think we've recruited well. We've still kept the spine of the team we had last season, which we're capable of finishing in the playoffs. If one or two results go differently, we finished playoffs last season. I'll put us in 8th. I reckon the first 2 months will be a bit ropey, but after that, players will start to gel. We'll settle on our final 2, and I think it'll all kick off. I'm going to go for Will Evans as the player of the season. As we've seen in pre-season, he's a multifaceted player. He can play striker, he can play attacking mid. He's even been playing left wing back. So I'll expect him to get a lot of minutes and a lot of goals within that.
Good. So for me, before I say my league position, I'm going to sort of give you what's in my mindset, what I'm thinking of right now. So I think we got a class act as a manager.
Yeah.
I think Rowbury, now he's had the opportunity to put his own stamp on the club. This is his time to shine. And if he lives up to what I think he can do, this will be his time to shine. This is where he will shine. Now, you need the tools to do the job, and the tools of the players, obviously, for a manager. Obviously his tactics, his application of utilizing those tools in the most efficient way. So I think if he sticks with the back 3 and the wing backs, 2 up top and 3 in centre mid, I think that is where he's got his best shot, which I got a feeling from the games that I've seen, that is going to be the preferred formation.
Yeah.
The sort of 3-5-2 with the wing backs. I think the signings that he's made, I think there's pedigree in the signings that he's made. So I think the defence is shoring up that little bit more with the signing of Declan Drysdale, who I think is capable of League One and above easily.
Yeah.
I think he's an absolutely monstrous signing, and obviously the fact we've got Priestley Farquharson coming back into the fray as well, to add extra competition. Obviously, Mickey Demetriou will be Mickey Demetriou. James Clark's injured, don't know how long for, not going to be there tomorrow. Hopefully he'll come back, as I was really impressed with him last season, as I was with Cameron Norman, who will be on the right. Aaron Lewis will be floating between the right and the left, whereas Adam Lewis. So hopefully the admin doesn't put A. Lewis up as at left back.
Yeah.
Just to add that bit of confusion. I think Sam Bowen is a marquee signing. I think a lot of Cardiff fans were hoping he was going to get some opportunities in the first team for Cardiff this season.
Yeah.
I think that's a coup. That there is a capture and a half. And I think on that stage, he will shine. I think he'll offer us a completely different midfield to what we had last season. Obviously, we had that bit of pace and flair and tenacity. Now we've got that sleekness. We got a bit of experience through Wildig. We've already got experience through the likes of Bennett and Wilmot anyway. But that sleek paciness we've got through Waite, and we just got that, that marquee central midfielder, that kingpin in the centre of the park in Sam Bowen. And I think it's going to be a big season for him. You mentioned Will Evans. I'm really impressed with how he's looking. his time in the Welsh League, he absolutely tore it up in the same way James Waite did. James Waite is coming and is impressed with us. Will Evans, I think, will do the same. And then Zanzala is very quick. Zimba is a good mixture of quick and strong. Zanzala was promoted last season. Zimba was nearly promoted last season, both of them in League Two.
Yeah.
And Omar Bogle was once one of the best scoring players in this league.
Yeah.
Now, Hartlepool, when he signed for Hartlepool, they went on a form dip. So obviously the opportunities for him to score weren't quite there. I think the service he'll get from us, from the midfield players and from the wing backs, will give him opportunities to score goals. I mean, it's a similar setup to Dom Telford's reign of goals that he got, because it was after Flinney went that he started scoring goals.
Yeah.
So if these players live up to what I think they can, if Robury shines as I think he can, I'm predicting a top 3 finish for us.
Ooh.
Irrespective of the thing is, right, you've got big teams in League Two. Being a big team doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do well. How long have been trying and have failed miserably. Portsmouth were stuck for 4 seasons with us. I mean, Blackpool and Coventry were the only 2 that I can recall who were big teams who didn't stop in this division for long.
Yeah.
And some big teams have even fallen that bit further, like Tranmere, for example, like Notts County. Notts County still haven't recovered from that. I mean, how long were Luton in the non-league? How long have Wrexham been in non-league? Being a big club doesn't mean that you're going to do well.
Yeah.
So it all depends on the players that you've got. I mean, you look at the teams who did well last year. Did they buy well? Did they sell well? Did they get rid of the players they don't need and replace them with good players? I suppose time will tell on that. But one thing I know is that we definitely did do that right.
Yeah.
The fact that we did our business early means that these players have had the time to get to know each other, train together, play together in the pre-season. So I can't see any reason why we won't play a good game tomorrow.
Yeah, I think ultimately that's what it comes down to. The other teams can recruit well and they can play well, but if Newport County plays the best that they can, they can't be stopped. Just like if Mansfield or Stockport or Bradford, if they go unbeaten and they win all their games, they're going to be first. There is an element of not trying to focus too much on the other teams and just focusing on how well your team does. If your team does well, there's nothing to stop them from going up. And I think you are right. If everything does click, then I think we'll be up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you look at it, I mean, it's only 2 seasons ago. For the first half of the season, we were running away with League Two. Now, I think, we got pedigree in the backroom staff, with Robury and Sarant there, pedigree from Cardiff. I just can't see where we're going to fall down. I mean, we're going to lose games. We're going to have disappointments. It wouldn't be Newport County in League Two if we didn't have our downs to go with our ups. I just can't see us having more downs than ups. I think we're going to have a good season. I know exactly where the goals are going to come from, and we've got 4 very capable forwards. We've got other capable players. Last season we had a few goals from midfield as well as Dom Telford and Baker Richardson. I think this season there is goals in midfield again. James Waite, Sam Bowen, Wildig.
Yeah.
I just don't see where, unless something drastically goes wrong somewhere, it's going to be a hard season like some of our fans are predicting. It's bonkers, mate. Absolutely bonkers.
It's a very well-rounded squad.
Yeah. And I think there's time to add to it if needed, the lone players here and there. But we mentioned about players who are going to stand out. Sam Bowen, for me, I think, is the one that's going to be the player for us, the main player. He's going to be our main man, Sam Bowen. And I've liked the inclusion of some of the youth players. I think Twamley looked reasonably good.
Yeah.
I think Woodowist played well when he played at centre back as well. He seems at home playing in there.
Yeah.
But the one player that stood out for me youth wise was, as you mentioned earlier, Jack Caradogan. And I think I'd like to see him get some game time. Although the one player I do believe is going to get some game time at right back is Harrison Bright.
Yeah.
Now, the hunger of a game, Rowbury came down on him harder than anybody, which for me, Rowbury rates him if he's going to do that.
Yeah.
So I've got a good feeling he'll have a good season whenever he does deputise for Cameron Norman, if he ever has to.
Yeah. I think we are a little like on the centre backs. We've got Drysdale, Demetriou, Farquhar, and Clark as kind of the out centre backs. Matty Dolan in there too, but obviously Cameron Norman can step aside and play as a centre back, so opens up the chance for Bright. I think he will play well. Yeah. I think another thing that we have to remember is we're allowed to use 5 subs this season. So if you look at the kind of backup players, the players outside of the starting 11, Lewis Collins, Matty Dolan, Scott Bennett, Will Evans, Wilmot, Aaron Lewis, Woodowist, Twamley, Caradogan, maybe even Kevin Wright. There's plenty of opportunities for youth players to break into this team, and especially with a manager like Rowbury, who is very youth orientated and desperate for these players to blood themselves in and embed themselves into a side.
Absolutely, yeah. It looks as though the youth are going to get given a chance, and that's great. And the thing is, Rowbury working at Cardiff he's worked from youth level up to first team level, so he knows what it takes for these players to get to the level they need to be at to make it in a first team. So for me, if he's including them, for me, he's as good a judge as any to see if a player is going to be ready. But anyway, we need it at the 45-minute mark, so I think that's where we could call time on this now. Quick score prediction for tomorrow.
Oh, 2-1 County.
Yeah, I'm saying 2-1. 2-1, 2-0. Yeah, I think we'll bag a couple of goals and we'll come home happy.
Just one quick shout out before we finish the pod. I know we do these sometimes. I want to give a shout out to Aaron Wildig, who in his press conference this morning actually admitted that Scott Bennett was fouled in the playoff final and there should have been a penalty. Should he have said it in the match? Probably so, but I think we swayed him around and he's seen the light. Yeah.
No, fair play to him. He's on our team now, First signed him I was a bit, oh God, we've signed one of that Morecambe team, who celebrated in front of us after stealing that win or being given that win by Bobby Madley. I'm not going to hold anything against him. And if he's admitted that, I haven't watched that press conference now. Just reminded me to do that. So I think I'll do that then.
Yeah, he's seen the light.
Good man, Aaron Wildig. Happy days. All right then, Ollie, thanks a lot for your time. And are you going tomorrow?
No, not going tomorrow, but I will be there for Walsall. So hopefully we start on a positive.
See you at that game then, mate.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, buddy. And thanks all for watching. Make sure you've liked, you've subscribed. Make sure you share this video to people you think are going to want to watch it. And of course, feel free to leave a comment for us. Any content you want us to, any subject matter you want us to put in these videos, leave a comment and we will gladly put the questions up for you and see what the boys have got to say. So yeah, thanks again, Ollie. Thanks all for watching. Now and as always, up the county. Take it away, Ollie. You get the last one in.
Up the county.